We are joined by Mona Eltahawy, Egyptian-born journalist. Also with us, Farah Saafan, an Egyptian-American writer who has been active, quite so in fact, on Twitter during this crisis. Mona, you just heard an American congressman describe the Mubarak news cycle as sadistic, as bringing the crowd to a breaking point. What is your view of the news of the day?
I think sadistic is a wonderful word, Dylan. We've all been sitting on the edge of our seats all day with all these rumors flying around about Mubarak leaving, about Mubarak finally stepping down. We wanted to celebrate a peaceful 16-day uprising. Peaceful is the word here. And he knew this, and his regime knew this, and he comes on and he speaks like a man who is living on another planet. Tahrir Square is livid. I mean, while he was giving this speech, it felt like he had thrown a verbal grenade into Tahrir Square. And it sounds to me like the Mubarak regime wants to push people over the edge. It wants to turn this peaceful uprising violent so that it can crack down in a very bloody way and say, you see, we had no other option. I am begging my friends in Tahrir Square and across Egypt to continue peacefully, because Mubarak wants it to be violent so that he can crack down even more violently.
Farah, do you agree with that assessment?
I agree with that assessment, because I think Mubarak today is trying to bait people into becoming more violent so that any violence on the part of the police force or the army would be justified. So I hope that people would be smarter than that and not to fall into his trap.
Mona, your thoughts as you listen to these American legislators?
You know, I want to make clear what is at stake here, Dylan. What is at stake is a message, a very clear message to young people across the Arab world. The majority of the Arab region are watching this, and they are being told that your peaceful attempts for freedom and dignity are at stake here. And we have heard all these stereotypes for years now, that Arabs only understand violence, Arabs only understand the strong leader who can suppress them. Well, here is a generation of Arabs that is trying to get rid of that and is fighting for freedom and dignity in a peaceful way. And if the army crushes that, if Mubarak and Suleiman crushes that, then the message to their fellow Arabs, the majority of the region, is that peace does not work. We must take the side of these young people and understand that it is those young people who will ensure stability, not these old men who continuously, in a very paranoid way, blame satellite channels or blame outside forces. These are Egyptians calling for change in Egypt. And we must remember that, you know, I like to hear this from these congressmen, but I want them to understand that there are lobbyists who are working overtime right now as they say these sweet words. There are lobbyists working overtime right now to keep Mubarak exactly where he is. So we must understand who we're fighting here in this country. Get those lobbyists and understand on the Hill that they are the ones who are helping Mubarak and Suleiman and those dinosaurs and those old men tell young people, we are not listening to you. Take the side of the future in the Arab world and help young people understand that their peaceful desires will be listened to, because we don't want violence to enter in this. Peace is the solution.
Farah, at its highest level, can you describe to me the distinction in this movement between the interests of human beings, the children who grew up under emergency law, watching their fathers emasculated, their mothers depressed, the interests of human beings connected in a way that they never have been before, versus the interests of institutions that have been in place for decades, that have accumulated the vast majority of the wealth and power? Describe to me, if you will, the values and interests of the youth movement, not only in Egypt but in the Middle East, and its values on human beings relative to governments that value the perpetuation of long broken institutions.
I think right now the people have been very clear that we've had enough with the oppression of the Mubarak regime with his various institutions. The people want to be able to speak up their minds, to be able to walk down the streets without fearing the wrath of policemen. And right now, Mubarak's regime does not seem to care. I think his speech made it very clear that he values his pride more than he values the demands of the people. So I think right now the people will not leave Tahrir unless he leaves. So they will keep pushing for their demands.
Farah, thank you for your time. Farah Saafan. Mona Eltahawy, thank you so much.